Hello guys, Chris here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, we're gonna be testing the Intel ARC A770 16GB GPU in 2023. Why was that blinking? What the heck? Now, the ARC A770 released in October of last year for $329 MSRP, but it took a really long time for it to be widely available in the EU. That's why I have only managed to get my hands on it right now. really late to the party. So I bought it for 379 euros a couple of weeks ago, and I've been using it as my main GPU for gaming ever since. And guys, I gotta say, the drivers on this thing still need a lot of work. Granted, it's way better than it was before when the GPU released. I mean, the thing couldn't even run DirectX 11 games properly. Now it can, thankfully, as we'll see in this video. But still, I've been seeing a lot of crashes, errors, or just bigger loading times for some reason, which is pretty weird. I am pairing it with a Ryzen 7 5800X3D and 32GB of DDR4, 3600 MHz CL14, and that's gonna be the test system for this video. Now, on to the specs of the ARC A770. It has 4096 shading units, 256 TMUs, 128 ROPs, 16GB of GDDR6 VRAM. Like, that's actually pretty nice. If you want 16GB, you gotta go to like a 4080 on the NVIDIA side of things, for example. And that VRAM runs on a 256-bit memory bus, which is also, interestingly, the same size memory bus as the RTX 4080s. It's almost like NVIDIA is selling mid-range GPUs for absurdly high prices. The A770 is also capable of running ray tracing with its 32 RT cores, and it has 512 tensor cores. Finally, it consumes 225 watts of power, which is maybe a bit too much for the performance it gets, but I'll give it a pass since it's Intel's first generation of dedicated GPUs. And speaking of performance, let's try this thing in some games, shall we? First up, we got Red Dead Redemption 2 at 1080p using the balanced preset, which sets the graphics mostly to ultra. It's like high to ultra settings right here. The presets will vary depending on the graphics card that you're using. For example, a 1050 Ti sets everything to low on the balanced preset. Anyway, this is good for around 70 to 80 FPS, and I am really impressed with these results because I tried the RTX 3060 yesterday and it was getting around these FPS, maybe a little bit better actually, but using the hardware unboxed settings. Those are optimized for the best visuals to performance ratio, but here you don't need to worry about that because it will get 60 plus FPS all of the time, even without you optimizing the settings. Let's go, Roach. Oh, nice jump, boy! What the hell are you doing, dude? Okay, finally, we're here. It's starting to drop slightly into the 60s, as you can see. Like, it's getting down to 69 at times, but it is actually really damn good, guys. It's not gonna drop from 60 FPS no matter what you do. 2560 by 1440 using exactly the same settings. I didn't change anything else, obviously. And at this resolution, things are still looking great in terms of FPS, although it will definitely drop from 60 frames per second. Okay, here we are, guys. Yeah, 57. Look at that. In the middle of the city. You know, people are already shooting at us. Oh boy. Just because I stole this chariot thingy or whatever this is. Now die! Everybody dies because you started it. You started it, yes. Let's try to kill some bastards, shall we, my friends? Oh boy. Okay, come on. There we go. One dead. Okay, going near the water this time around. And yeah, things are still pretty stable around 60. Yeah, it will drop from 60 FPS as you saw, but not by too much, and since this is a single player title, I think I would still be happy with this experience, honestly. And if you require 60 plus all of the time, just adjust a couple of settings in the menu and it will get just that. Next up is another Rockstar title, GTA 5 at 1080p. This is DirectX 11 title, by the way, so I'm really curious to see the ARC's performance in this one. We're using 2x MSAA and the very high or ultra settings. The only thing that's not maxed out is post effects, as well as the advanced settings. Now, I think we should definitely try to find like a blue car. That would go very well with this Intel GPU, right? Well, no, are you kidding me? No. Do I refuse to go with this car or not? No, we'll go with it. Let's visit Jack with a smart. Nice. This is decent performance, you know. It's getting 100 plus FPS. The thing is, GTA 5 is 10 years old already. On the PC it released 8 years ago, but still, it's a 10-year-old game, and it's stuttering. If you lock the FPS to 60, by the way, it won't really stutter. But yeah, this is a bit concerning, and this is all because of DirectX 11. ARC was not made to run on old DirectX versions like 9, 10, 11, so it basically performs pretty well in DirectX 12 titles as well as Vulkan titles, but not so much in the X11. And now we're finally arriving at Jack's Hill. Now this is going to be the most intensive place. Oh boy, it's already dropping into the 60s. I'm not sure if this car has what it takes to go visit Jack actually. Hello Jack, how's it going buddy? Everything all right? Yeah, dropping into the mid-50s at times inside of these bushes. Where's Bob? Where the heck is Bob? What? You know what? Bob is probably the reason why this struggles a little bit in GTA 5. Now we're playing Apex Legends at 1080p using the maximum settings aside from this one, which is broken. And, well, we're playing with DirectX 11 instead of DirectX 12, which is in beta. And DX12 actually runs way better, but I can't get into a match, guys. Inside of the main menu, it actually gets like 30 or 40 more frames per second. But whenever I load into a game, it gives me this error. So in order for us to play... I think there's someone behind us, pretty sure. In order for us to play the game, we need to use the X11, and it kind of sucks using the X11. I mean, the FPS are still very good, but the GPU is not maxed out most of the time. You can see it go down to like 79% at times, and the FPS fluctuates by quite a bit. So that is a shame, guys, because this is one of the most played games on Steam. Oh god, you just leave me alone, dude, please. What the hell? I'm just making a video here. Yeah, I was seeing like 99% usage all of the time right now, but as soon as I turned myself back over here, it's god damn, just leave me alone. And there's a guy right there. Alright, wait. You know what? Why not? Why? Oh, they're out of there. Nice. Oh, no. Wait, that's just a Mirage thing. Oh, no, 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 nope, 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 nope. I want to see some explosions. Yes. Exactly. Not like that, but... I guess that works as well. Oh boy, okay. A little bit of mayhem right now with smoke and stuff, and it's not really that bad, guys. It's not dropping too much, which is interesting. I just don't know how I'm still alive, guys. We got another ultimate ready now, and this time I really want to be inside of the explosions to see how much it will drop to. Where are the bastards now? Very close to us. No! No, boy! Okay, explosions are on the way. Let's see. This is it. Finally seeing some explosions. Doesn't drop by too much. Like, I thought it would drop more than it actually did here. Oh, boy. Nope. Now, this is Battlefield 2042 at 1080p using the high settings and 100% resolution scale. And we're getting around 80 frames per second. I thought it was gonna be a little bit better again because the 3060 got slightly higher FPS than this card in this game right here. People are saying that this is better than a 3060, and it usually is in some games, but in this one, look at that, it's dropping into the lower 70s at times, where the 3060 got 100 FPS on average or something like that in my video. But anyway, it still provides a great experience here at 1080p. I just wish it was a little bit better once again. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but maybe the drivers still have a really long way to go. I also started by playing this at 1440p ultra settings. That's how high my expectations were for some reason. I guess because a lot of people are praising these ARC GPUs, and you know, they are actually good value, especially in the United States. But here, in Portugal, they cost more than an RTX 3060 12GB. By the way, at 1440p high settings, it was consistently dropping from 60 FPS. I think it got around like 60 on average in the new renewal map, I think. That's what I played previously. No. All right, I'm super low HP right now. I need to be very careful. I need to be very careful. Instantly looks at 10 enemies. Jesus Christ, we're definitely gonna lose this one. Oh boy. We're playing the Beast now, The Last of Us Part 1 at 1080p using native res. These are all turned off right here. And the high settings preset, guys. And it's getting bad FPS, actually. I was expecting better coming from this. No, this is not even an intensive area, you know. I was thinking around 60 would be good for an A770 at 1080p high. This is a really intensive title, obviously. But no, it is actually dropping quite a bit. Over here, it's also touching 60 FPS, look in that direction as well. Now it gets really intensive. It drops into the mid-40s. For the price that I paid for this GPU, I'm not happy with its performance. I think the 3060 once again is a little bit faster than this, and I was expecting like 3060 Ti, 3070 performance coming from it, because I've seen it in the comments, people saying, oh no, the ARC A770 is really fast, it's like a 3070. So far, it's not been like a 3070 at all, guys. It should drop the most right now when we turn this corner right here, guys. See the FPS right there? Ooh, 39. Oh my gosh. I want to go outside. I want to go outside. I don't care. I don't care. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. Oh boy, this is going to be the most intensive part of my little benchmark run, all right? And looking back, yep, 35. Jesus Christ. This is not $380 or Euro GPU performance. Anyway. Very intensive title and very underwhelming in my opinion. Let's move on. Now it's Forza Horizon 5. Shut up. Shut up. We're playing at 1440p using TAA, no XESS, but we'll try that out a little bit later. And we're using the Ultra settings preset. And while Forza Horizon 5 is a super well optimized title, so I'm only gonna play it here at 1440p resolution, and it's getting around 100 FPS on average. It's also a buttery smooth experience. VRAM usage is going over 8 GB right now, as you can see, 8.2, 8.3 gigs. So the 16 gigs are at work, although maybe like 12 gigs would be more adequate for a card like this, you know. But still, it's better to have more memory than less memory, NVIDIA. I mean, yes, in general. Now, compared with the 3060 Ti, guys, this is actually pretty similar in performance, but since we have more VRAM, it's a little bit better because we won't have those annoying warnings saying that we're running out of VRAM every once in a while. So it is I would say, a little bit more stable than that card. It's also quite a bit faster than the RTX 3060 12GB in this particular game. That's not the case in every single game, as we saw like in Battlefield 2042. The 3060 was actually faster than this one, but it's good to see that in some games the ARC GPU can have a big lid over that card. Now let me just try and set the XeSS to ultra quality to see how it looks. Is it looking better actually? It's definitely a little bit sharper than it was at native resolution, and I think we're getting around like 5-ish more frames per second than native res at the same time. Yeah, I guess this is a really nice option to use in Forza Horizon 5. I mean, I'm not really seeing any jaggies, or more jaggies than I was seeing at native res, so that's pretty impressive. Alright, pretty nice, guys. Let's get to the next one. Next up is Diablo IV at 1440p using the ultra settings over here. Pretty much everything is maxed out. Now, this game runs extremely smoothly on the ARC A770, thankfully. Sometimes it will have the odd stutter here and there whenever it needs to load in some new enemies and new areas in the game, but most of the time it's going to be really smooth. And those stutters also happen with other cards as well, so it's not like ARC related. You know, the 16 gigabytes of VRAM also help it a lot in this game, because Diablo 4 for some reason uses a ton of VRAM, and I've seen it maxing out like a 12 gigabyte card even at 1440p. Right now things are a little bit better at like 10 gigabytes of VRAM usage, but I guess in some other areas things can go up, and it's good to have that big frame buffer. But yeah, you can see that even with all of these effects and all of these enemies on screen, it's not really dropping. It might drop, of course, if you are playing like a huge boss and you have some more advanced effects and the spells. Yes, that's the word. But I doubt it will drop from 60, and even if it does, this is Diablo. I think it's playable even with 30 FPS. So the A770 provides an amazing experience in Diablo 4. Next is Cyberpunk 2077, and in this one we're playing on the high settings preset with high textures. We're disabling XC super sampling, or XeSS, and the motion blur as well, obviously, and we're also utilizing the 1080p resolution. Alright, here we go. 70s. Damn, that's nice, actually. Okay, it won't really drop from 60 FPS. You know, it's very far from the 60 FPS mark, in the good direction. So nice. This is not bad. This is native resolution. This game is super intensive, by the way. Goodbye, Bob, right now. Oh, he didn't die. Wait a second. Now he's dead. Well, that was a fast death of Bob. Great stuff, my friends. And going around this roundabout, we're seeing 70s. Doesn't even drop into the 60s, dude. That's really good. Let's move on to 1440p then, and at native resolution it's already dropping from 60 FPS. Damn, that was an interesting death right there. It's probably Bob's friend or something. But yeah, it's getting 50s around this roundabout, which is not bad. That means that in other areas that are a little bit less intensive in this game, it will get higher FPS, but I would actually enable XE super sampling. Why do I call it XE super sampling? It's weird. XeSS to make it run above 60 all of the time, and that's exactly what we get on quality. It's getting 70s and 60s right here, so we gained about like 10 frames per second, and it is looking very similar. Once again, like XeSS is actually a decent competitor to DLSS, and especially FSR. Like, it probably does look better than FSR, and we don't see any ghosting issues in this game either, like with FSR. It also gets a little bit sharper than native resolution because of the built-in TAA, and it gets 69 FPS on average, so that is absolutely perfect. It couldn't get better than this. Okay, let's enable ray tracing. I want ray trace reflections, local shadows, ultra ray trace lighting, yeah. And I think, yeah, we're gonna do this like that. And it's getting 30-ish frames per second. Okay, and those reflections are really low quality, just like with the DLSS, guys. Yeah, it kind of looks worse right now than it did without ray tracing enabled. Still, it's pretty impressive that it can achieve 30 plus FPS using RT in this game, because again, it's a really intensive title. Now let's go back to 1080p using ultra quality XeSS and ray tracing as well, and at this resolution we are getting around like 8 to 10 more frames per second than we saw at the previous settings that we tested. So it's not a massive boost in performance, it's not really a great experience yet, even at 1080p, but it's a step in the right direction for Intel. Now it's CSGO at 1440p using high textures and the low settings for the competitive play. And in this one I'm not really playing it in real time because it took a really long time to record without any stuttery footage at the end of it because of the freaking capture card with the ARC GPU. It's really annoying. It's using DirectX 11 this game, and the ARC GPU is capable of achieving around like 300 to 400 frames per second most of the time. So that's enough for a competitive experience. It felt really snappy playing this game. I could control the recoil pretty well. I could do everything that I could do with even a higher end GPU from like AMD or Nvidia. It's the same experience. CSGO isn't really that hard of a game to run, but I remember seeing people complaining about the ARC GPU's performance in this game because of the X11. Well, rest assured, this is not a problem anymore, okay? They have fixed those issues here in CSGO, and it runs extremely well. It's actually not even fully utilized. As you can see, the CPU is a bottleneck here in this deathmatch that we're playing. So, yeah, let's move to the next one, Valorant, another competitive shooter. Now in Valorant I chose to play it at 4K using high settings with 2 times MSAA because, well, that stresses the GPU a little bit more, okay? And as you can see, GPU is now the bottleneck. It's at 99% GPU usage, and I did really well in this match. I actually think I ended up winning this one. So enjoy some nice kills here and some really high FPS as well. Like, again, the experience was insane. You could pair it with a 4K monitor if you're playing Valorant and like CSGO as well. That would work extremely well. And yeah, it's just a great experience here, period. These are not intensive titles, so that's to be expected.
10 kills remaining. One dead. Five kills remaining. One kill remaining. Just one more. Now to mend what we have.
Next up, we got Hogwarts Legacy, and we're playing at 1080p, 100% resolution scale, no XeSS for now, and the high settings. And to my surprise, I think we're getting a little bit more FPS than NVIDIA GPUs here with the 5800X3D because of the driver overhead on the NVIDIA GPUs. So it's not present here, or at least it's very minimized with the ARC A770, and I expected the opposite. So GPU usage stays at 99% throughout Hogsmeade over here, which is very, very good to see, with high FPS as well, like 90 FPS on average or so. Now this isn't where the FPS drop the most if you don't have a CPU bottleneck, and obviously we don't have it right here. So let's try out a bit more of an intensive area for a GPU to handle. Over here it's dropping into the 60s, as you could see there, 70s most of the time, 65, okay. Yeah, it's getting more intensive. I think this one is where it drops the most. Yep, 64 right there, but it stays above 60 the entire time. So if you want to play this game at native 1080p resolution using the high settings, it will work very well. And if you want to get rid of the stuttering issues, which aren't caused by the A770, by the way, they're just because of the game being kind of broken and unoptimized. You just need to lock the FPS using a third-party software like Rivetuner, for example, which is what I use, and then it's buttery smooth and it gets rid of like 90% of those frame time spikes that you see. Now it's Stutter Night Battle Royale at 1080p using DirectX 12 and the high settings without nanite virtualized geometry and the lumen settings. So these aren't really ray traced, or they don't have any ray tracing whatsoever. Let's start counting our FPS and drop right here in the mega city area. It's getting really high FPS actually. I like what I'm seeing. And so far, it is not stuttering too much. Wow, those are some beautiful colors. Look at that. That is looking amazing, dude. Wow. I mean, Fortnite, every single time it has an update, it ends up looking a little bit better. It's amazing, this game, in terms of visuals. And look at this. Outside, you still see a lot of reflections on the ground. That's pretty good, even though the lumen isn't enabled. This is just buttery smooth. The high refresh rate experience at high settings, while the game looks very, very good, is very great. Let's grab the car over here and get out of this city. Maybe like with some vegetation, it's gonna drop a little bit more. Here we go. A little bit more stuttery while I am driving this, by the way. Yep. Some big frame time spikes, but it's just a feature. It's in the name itself of the game, you know, Stutter Night. Now we're getting close to another guy, I think. Yep, he started shooting at us first. Got the shotgun out, 14 HP off of him, and switched to a decent weapon and got that kill. That's great. And look at the FPS right now, 144 on average. So for those 144 Hz monitors, this is gonna be really good. Now we're playing at 1440p because I'm really curious to see what it can do at this resolution, and it's getting around 100 frames per second. That is not a big drop coming from 1080p to 1440, guys. It still feels extremely smooth. It's not as high refresh rate, of course, but it's definitely super playable, and I would enjoy this experience all day long on an ARC A770, as long as it doesn't crash again. Because that's sometimes a little bit of an issue with this GPU and its drivers. You know, I'm really impressed with the performance here in Fortnite, and now I think we will get 2 more kills over here. Yeah, 1 down. Wait, can we get 3 kills, though? 2 down? 3 down? Oh, yeah, boy, I didn't remember I did this. Nice. Very good, Crisp from the past. Very, very good indeed. Next is Call of Duty Warzone 2 at 1080p resolution using the minimum settings preset with 100% resolution scale, high textures, and that's it. Let's go. Alrighty, here we go. As usual, we're dropping in the Zarqwa Hydroelectric, which is a very intensive area in this map. And I'm gonna reshield a little bit, of course. Oh boy, no, not right away, please. God damn it. Why? Why do people do this so often, dude? Okay, let's run away. Oh, he's still after us. He's still after us. He's coming. Come on. God damn it, I'm missing. Yep, yes, wrecked, boy. Oh, yes. This usually doesn't happen, guys. We got the bastard. Let's keep on going. Dropping into the water, things don't really drop in FPS by all that much. Usually with other cards, we see a bigger dip dropping into the water. Now, in this game, this is very far away from the performance of like a 3060 Ti and 3070. The 3070, which I tested recently-ish, like a month ago in Warzone 2, was getting around like 165 FPS average using these exact same settings. So that means that the 3060 Ti would get like around 150. and this one's getting 100, so that's quite far away. Still, I mean, the experience is okay. Yeah, it's minimum settings. It doesn't look great, but it hardly looks any worse than the ultra settings. And now I really want to check it out using some XeSS. So here we go. I'm gonna set it to ultra quality right here. We're seeing almost the same FPS, aren't we? Like, that's a very, very similar result to what we saw, and it's also a little bit blurrier than native resolution without any upscaling. So yeah, I'm just gonna disable it. I think it's better without it, guys. And lastly, in the benchmark run, we have this tiny little foresty area, which is not really a forest at all, but it's a little bit more intensive than usual because it has some vegetation, and it's not really dropping by all that much, into the 90s only. So this isn't, like, great. I actually was expecting a lot better coming from the A770 in Warzone 2, but it is very playable anyway. Next is Spider-Man Remastered at 1440p using TAA and the very high settings preset. And we're getting 80s. That is really good, and I gotta tell you guys, this is a really smooth experience, especially compared to some 8GB GPUs. They kind of tend to stutter a little bit after a while in this game, because the VRAM usage will go over 8GB in just a little bit. And, well, the A770 just has the normal stuttering that this game has, which is not really that noticeable, and I can definitely live with that. In some games, the ARC GPU is very impressive. In others, like Warzone 2, for example, it's not so much, you know? But I'm glad to see that if you want to shoot some webs out of your hands, you can definitely do so here in Spider-Man Remastered with around like 90 to 100 FPS, even at 1440p. Needless to say that if you want to play it at 1080p with this card, it will be even better, of course. And as I was saying, guys, by the end of this benchmark run, the VRAM usage is going over 8 gigs. So it's great that we have the extra headroom right there. And now it's Far Cry 6 at 2560 by 1440 using the Ultra Settings preset and DXR reflections and shadows. That's ray tracing, guys. No FSR 1.0 is being utilized, so this is native resolution. And honestly, guys, in this one, I was really impressed to see these results. Initially, I thought, well, ray tracing is surely a little bit too much for 1440p, you know, and an ARC A770 at ultra settings. But nope, you can still have some decently looking reflections there on the ground and stay above 60 FPS the entire time. Now, that's not to say that in some areas it won't drop from 60. It probably will, so you might want to use some FSR 1.0 on ultra quality, for example, with it. Or maybe drop a few settings here and there. Maybe disable the XR ray tracing. But, yeah, I can't deny this impressed the heck out of me. Like, I don't think I saw it dropping from 60 FPS, and the numbers from the actual benchmark show it. 63 FPS minimum there. That's just great, guys. And finally, before we go to the conclusion and the final benchmark, we got Resident Evil 4 Remake. And we're playing at 1440p using the favor quality settings, or like the one below ray tracing, which I don't remember the name of. But yeah, it's like high settings-ish, something like that. It's getting around 60 FPS in this area. So far, it hasn't dropped from 60, but now this area is a little bit more intensive than usual. And, well, look at those averages. Couldn't be more perfect. Well, not anymore, though. So I guess we should probably kill all of these people, maybe? I don't know. There are too many of them. I only have 10 bullets left. This is bad. This is very bad. Oh boy. Oh yes. The controls are way better than like The Last of Us Part 1 when shooting. And they're not perfect, but still. But yeah, this is super buttery smooth, as you can see. Very well optimized title. It looks amazing as well. And it's getting 60 plus even in an intensive area like this one. Now it will probably drop from 60 again, since it's already close to 60 sometimes. But that doesn't mean that this is going to be a bad experience. Again, it's a single-player game, doesn't really need 60 plus 100% of the time, and I think it's super enjoyable with the ARC A770. It's also a very recent title as well. Alright guys, it is conclusion time. You can see Assassin's Creed Valhalla running right here at 1440p, very high settings. It runs very, very well still. Yeah, from what I've seen in this video, I think the ARC A770 is actually quite capable and a really nice first dedicated GPU or first high-end dedicated GPU from Intel. I like the performance in almost every game. There were a few older titles, especially with DirectX 11, that didn't run as well as they could, as well as like Battlefield 2042 and Call of Duty Warzone 2. Those were a little bit underwhelming, and I thought the A770 would do a better job there. So things are not super consistent, you know. Sometimes it is performing really well, close to like a 3060 Ti, for example, but other times it's actually a little bit slower than something like an RTX 3060. And with all of the driver issues that I had during the making of this video, would I recommend it for around like 350 to 400 bucks, which is what it costs here in the EU? Probably not. I say like go for a used RX 6700 XT or a used RTX 3070 or even 3080. 6800 XT is also a really decent buy, by the way, with 16 gigabytes of VRAM as well and more mature drivers. So consider those instead of this one. But if you find a really, really, really good deal on an A770, well, it's pretty decent for recent titles. So that's been it for this one. Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you in the next one very soon. Love you all. Bye-bye.